An evening walk turns into a deadly hit and run on the Siksika Reserve.
Jumped from the truck bed of this truck behind me onto my car, damaged the entire hood.
Video of a suspect vandalizing vehicles, including one belonging to a city councillor. And all this rain might be a pain.
All of this good stuff all through your garden.
But it's how fungi thrives, in turn helping gardens grow.
CTV Calgary, local breaking news with Camilla DiGiuseppe.
Good afternoon. 2 men are dead. A woman is in hospital after they were run down by a pickup truck on the Siksika Nation over the weekend. Police say one person is now in custody and that vehicle has been found. Tyson Fedor joins us live from Foothills Hospital. And Tyson, you spoke to loved ones today who say this was a senseless tragedy and one of them even witnessed it.
Camilla, what I can tell you, this was supposed to be just a regular family walk for this family over the weekend, but it turned deadly when a driver ran over 2 men. The family have identified them as Trayton Running Bird along with Clifton Saddleback. The driver then took off after hitting them. Now, RCMP do say a group of 5 pedestrians were walking on the roadway on the Siksika Reserve when 3 of them were struck. Sade Pantherbone and her cousin Brenna Littlelight laid flowers at the site of that deadly collision today. Pantherbone was on that walk when a pickup truck mowed them over. She, along with her friend, were not hit and neither were injured. Pantherbone was in a relationship with Trayton, who was just 27 when he died on Saturday. She was with him when he was hit, along with her mom, Emmeline Turningrobe, who is now in critical condition at Foothills Medical Center. Clifton Saddleback was also killed. He was 45 and in a relationship with Panthebone's mom, Emmeline. The family do say an altercation had occurred earlier in the night with the suspect vehicle and occupants in that vehicle. The family say they are heartbroken and are now seeking justice.
I heard that truck. I heard it rev its engine, and I had a feeling. I was like, you guys, we should get out the way, get in the field. I feel like they're gonna hit us. And as we were running, we all scattered and we ran, and that truck, he intentionally came and he tried to clip all 5 of us, but me and my friend got out the way, and he hit my mom's boyfriend first, then my mom, and then my husband was last.
Now, Mounties do say that if anyone in the area at the time between the hours of 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. Saturday evening have any video of the incident or video from nearby CCTV cameras, ask them to contact police or Crime Stoppers. Camilla?
Tyson, thank you so much. A Calgary man who killed a woman, then set her body on fire, has been sentenced to life in prison. But the mother of another woman he killed 16 years earlier says he should never have been out in the first place. 51-year-old Christopher Ward Dunlop was convicted of first-degree murder in the stabbing death of 58-year-old Judy Mars. In February of 2023, the mother of 2 who worked in the sex trade was found dead at Deerfoot Athletic Park. Dunlop killed Mars roughly 3 years after he was released from prison for manslaughter in the death of Laura Furlan, another sex worker he'd strangled at the same park. Furlan's mother was in court and says the second killing reflects a failure of the justice system.
It was really hard to see him again, but I've been following him since he was first incarcerated. I never stopped following him until he got out of prison. My biggest issue is that he got out too soon because of the time served. If he had served his full sentence, this lady might still be alive today.
First-degree murder comes with an automatic life sentence with no chance of parole for 25 years. Dunlop will be 74 years old before he's eligible for parole. Police have charged a man after being caught on video vandalizing and stomping on vehicles in the East Village. Jordan Canagan is there with more. Jordan, several vehicles were damaged, including the city councillors.
Camilla, at least 5 vehicles were damaged on Friday evening, including this white truck right behind me, as it's still waiting for a tow truck. The windshield is so damaged it cannot be driven away, and that one happens to belong to City Councillor Dan McLean. Video posted to social media shows a man jumping up and down on several vehicles just after 7 o'clock on Friday. He climbs onto the hoods and windshields of those vehicles, jumps up and down several times before moving on to the next vehicle. It caused quite a bit of damage, including the smashed windshield and dented back cover of McLean's truck. A man now facing 5 counts of mischief to a motor vehicle and 1 count each of causing a disturbance and intoxication. The suspect has since been released from custody.
Well, it's a revolving door. It's a catch and release. I've gone on ride-alongs on transit with the Calgary Police Services. We see it all the time. They don't even arrest half the people anymore because they know they're just going to be right out the door in hours or the next day.
Now, others I've talked to in this community say they want to see more police action here in this community. They want more patrols to try to boost how safe they feel in this area. Now, the man who was charged is Braden Lassise. He has been since released from custody. He's due back in court next month. Camilla?
Jordan, thank you. Calgary police are investigating a stabbing this morning near the Chinook LRT station. Officers were called to 61st Avenue Southwest around 8 a.m., which is a busy corridor during the morning commute. They located 1 injured person who was taken to hospital in stable condition. Police took 1 person into custody. No C train or bus service was disrupted because of the incident or investigation. An 18-year-old Winnipeg resident faces several charges after Canada Border Services agents made a significant drug seizure at the Calgary airport. It happened last month. Agents were inspecting luggage on outbound flights and came across a questionable piece of luggage destined for Japan. They found 30 kilograms of meth inside. Marianne Lee faces charges of drug possession and trafficking. A Calgary woman who says she was unable to provide a breathalyzer sample due to injury and has never consumed alcohol is now fighting to have the charge dropped. On April 24th, just before noon, Pamela Custa was pulled over on Stony Trail for speeding. The officer asked her to do a breathalyzer test, which she unsuccessfully attempted 30 times. That resulted in a failure to comply charge. LaCosta says for religious reasons, she abstains from alcohol. She even obtained a clean urine sample 2 hours after being charged, but the charge stuck. Only later did medical tests show she had 2 fractured ribs from a fall, which impacted her breathing. Her license was suspended for 90 days, while her car was impounded for 30 days. She's also had to have a breathalyzer device installed on her vehicle.
Having this as part of my life right now is been very hard. It has made it very difficult to do just a simple task.
LaCosta is fighting the charge, but her court date isn't until September 2026. Heavy rains overnight wreaked havoc on city streets, and they're creating a headache for gardeners. Kevin Green joins us live now from Bowness Park. Kevin, what exactly are we talking about?
Well, Camilla, clogged drains, as you mentioned, flooded some city streets. This is John Laurie Boulevard, just east of 14th Street, where city crews worked hard just to clear a backed up drain to try and prevent a giant puddle from forming and starting to swallow cars. And this is what they were trying to prevent. A giant puddle formed on 36th Street Northeast. It actually swallowed a car and submerged it. Fire crews were called around 10:30 this morning to try and extract the submarine car. It took about an hour before a tow truck hauled it out. And it's not just been a headache for commuters. Gardeners are facing new problems now. Mildew and rot and mushrooms popping up everywhere in some neighborhoods. While you might not like them, Colin Hale from Golden Acres Home and Garden says there's nothing to worry about, and they're actually good for the soil.
As the fungus and the mushrooms are feeding on it, they're breaking it down because it's their viable food source. As they're breaking it down, they're now feeding what they call the mycelium network, and that's leaching out all of this good stuff all through your garden.
Camilla, you can see behind me, this is the Bow River here at Bowness Park. It's running at about, well, this afternoon it was running at about 200 cubic meters per second. That's more than double what it normally should be this time of year. The fire department is asking people to be very careful if they're around the edges of water, and especially later in the week when it starts to warm up, for people who might be taking to rafts or boats and getting on the river to be very careful, because the stream flow will not go down as fast as the temperatures will go up.
Kevin, thank you very much, and thanks for the tips there.
That's a very good tip.
Right,
Safety
exactly.
around the water, for sure.
For sure. So you've got fungi popping up everywhere. You got rising, rivers or just fast-flowing rivers, and then you've got craters throughout the city.
It's like we live in BC.
It is. Is this finally coming to an end? Is this like almost like a record-breaking kind of July?
So this is one of the top 5 wettest Julys on record.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I'm going to show you a graphic here to show you where we're at, because yes, this is way more rain than we're used to in Calgary in July. So the wettest July on record was in 1927, and that's when we got 245.4 millimeters. This is all in millimeters. And then we're in the 200s in 2016. 1961, we were around 153. So the cool thing, though, when you look at these last 2 years, so this year and the 1897, we're just a millimeter away from getting into 4th place here. So 4th wettest July on record, and we're going to get another millimeter. So yes, this is way more rain than we're used to. 17 degrees is the current temperature. Looking at these next 24 hours, thunderstorms possible and showers through this evening, even up until about the midnight hour, and then things dry out for tomorrow at 23 degrees. That's your 24-hour forecast, brought to you by 5th Avenue Volkswagen, where you can win your ride. See dealer for details or visit 5thAvVW.com. Cam?
Thank you, Danielle. Still to come, more measles cases and a new exposure alert. This one in Calgary, including a popular dining establishment in Mission. Also, central Alberta farmers at ease thanks to this prolonged soaking of rain. A severe storm hit Karsten Sunday night, leaving the southern Alberta town looking a lot like winter. Residents reported hail the size of tennis balls. Homes and trailers were damaged, leaves on trees shredded, and there were also some battered crops in that area. In central Alberta, growing season appears to be going well for many farmers. A new report says crops are doing well because of the amount of rain and moisture in the soil. Alberta Grain says the recent rain is a relief for those who have been dealing with drought pressure since 2021.
We've been on the cooler side this year, and basically all the crops seem to like that, it seems like. So, that's been, I think, a big positive, too, is the temperature hasn't been excessive. Or if it is, it's only one day of 30 and then it's cooler again, right?
The report found most pests have not been an issue, though gophers and root maggots are at above normal levels in some fields. Danielle is back again to tell the pros and cons here, right? Rain is great for the farmers, for the fields, but then you saw some Karsten tennis ball size hails.
Damaging.
Hail. Last night, yeah.
Yeah, and we're in the peak of storm season, so that's why we've seen a lot of the rain has been from these isolated areas getting intense rain from these thunderstorm cells, but we've also had that long-term widespread rainfall, which is why totals are so high. So in Calgary, this is at this moment, our 5th wettest July on record, but then we're looking at likely being the 4th by the time it's all said and done, because another couple millimeters possible. Okay, before we get into the severe thunderstorm watches and warnings to talk about, because there is a lot of that, we'll quickly touch on temperatures, and things have cooled down in the city as some rainfall is starting to push in again. Once again, 17 degrees at the airport. It's 18 downtown, 15 in Bragg Creek, 18 at Strathmore. Get your daily dose of greens at Serenity Golf Club, just 20 minutes east of Calgary. Into the 20s, Drumheller, Brooks, Medicine Hat, Lethbridge, Milk River, and Pincher Creek, and over into Cranbrook as well. But as you can see, that colder air has started to filter in, especially because we're looking at thunderstorm activity all down the foothills and tracking off to the east, which is helping to cool things down. We are going to increase in temperature. We're looking at dry weather, so a few bright days ahead for us for the rest of this week, but we're also looking at, we have to get through this first. So severe thunderstorm watch in place for all the areas in the yellow, and the most likely risk is all down the foothills, tracking towards Highway 2, and even Kiwi 2 is the potential as well. Let me show you the radar, show you what's going on. These are the thunderstorm cells, some ping pong ball size ping pong-sized hail has already made its way into some communities. I'm going to zoom into a couple places to show you where we have the most active cells. This one tracking to the south of Calgary could actually clip the south end of the city. Rain has already started in the south end, so this could clip, and we could even see some hail in the south end of the city. And then we have this one tracking towards Highway 2, south of High River, basically in between High River and Nanton, but could clip Nanton as well. Claire's Home is where we're dealing with one of the worst cells right now, but this is starting to die out, but this has been producing that larger size hail, which is why there's a warning in place near Claire's Home. And then we have more activity tracking here, tracking towards the QE2 as well. Cremona, you'll likely see some of this. So there's a lot going on. This is one of those days to absolutely take things seriously, and we have the potential for thunderstorm activity, especially at 8:30 in the city and even up until about midnight. And then through the overnight hours, Lethbridge over to Medicine Hat, you could see that activity throughout the overnight hours. Pretty stable for tomorrow. There will be some slight development in the foothills. Some of it could track, which could result in an isolated shower later in the day tomorrow, but less likely to see that. And then Wednesday's dry. So when we look at that longer range forecast, temperatures will continue to climb. We'll be in the mid-20s by Wednesday, high 20s by Thursday, with a whole lot of sunshine.
Measles cases continue to climb in Alberta, with 36 new ones confirmed over the weekend. 5 of those measles cases are in Calgary. This afternoon, Alberta Health Services issued a public alert for our city. On July 23rd, someone who was infectious was at Pinnacle Medical Center's Crowfoot. 2 days before, that person was at South Block Barbecue and Brewing in the Mission area. Anyone at those locations is asked to monitor for symptoms and call the measles hotline before visiting any healthcare facility or pharmacy. A Ukrainian-born Canadian has completed his journey from Calgary to Banff for a cause close to his heart. Alexander Kianitsa, who lives with cerebral palsy, made it to Banff on Sunday. A 200-kilometer walk through the Rockies to raise funds for field hospitals in Ukraine. The project, called Gift of Walking, has already raised more than $24,000, with the goal now being $30,000. The funds raised will go directly toward purchasing life-saving supplies for mobile field hospitals operating in Ukraine's most affected areas. With more than 200 names on the official ballot, Elections Canada is changing up how voters in the upcoming Alberta by-election will cast their ballot. Halfway through, tourism in Canada is seeing a bump. Joining me is Liana Washniak, investment advisor with the Popwich Carmeli Advisory Group. Liana, we know why fewer Canadians are U.S. bound. Is it translating to more local travel?
It is. In fact, we've seen Canadians really try and put their tourism dollars into Canada this year, with domestic vacation bookings up about 12% year over year. That's Canadians booking Canadian destinations. Occupancy rates are a little bit higher than they were last year, but prices are up about 3%, and revenue for hospitality operators is up just over 4%. So overall, Canadians are spending more money locally. It's helping to support the overall Canadian tourism economy, which is slated to grow between 2% and 4% according to estimates this year. Now, conversely, on the U.S. side of the border, they're expecting to see their tourism side drop by 7%, not just from Canadians that aren't visiting the U.S., but also from others from other countries that are choosing to stay away.
And Liana, interest rate decisions in Canada and the U.S. this week, what can that do to markets?
Well, that is something that we're actually going to be watching quite closely. There's a couple of different sides to this, but the U.S. market has really been hoping to see an interest rate cut that would help businesses borrow more money and allow businesses to grow faster to leverage that money into their companies. It's unlikely that we'll see a cut on either side of the border right now, given the fact that we've seen a lot of uncertainty given the tariff situation, but also the fact that both economies and jobs markets have stayed fairly strong.
All right, Liana, thank you so much.
Thank you.
A hiring fair continues tomorrow for jobs with the Calgary Sports and Entertainment Corporation. Positions include security personnel, quick service cooks, line cooks, and 50-50 staff, which will support events for the Flames, Wranglers, Hitmen, Roughnecks, and Stampeders. The job fair takes place between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. tomorrow. CSEC says they are hiring on the spot, so bring a resume and enter at the west side of the Saddle Dome through the TELUS Club. City Councillor Dan McLean had his windshield kicked in the East Village. Here's Tara Nelson with a look ahead to CTV News at 6.
Hi, Camilla. The vandalism spree happened on Friday night, and the city councillor was not the only victim. We'll hear from a business owner who also has a damaged vehicle. Coming up, why she thinks this incident is part of a much bigger problem. Also ahead, this rain isn't just challenging for drivers. Coming up, some of the unexpected water hazards golfers faced on the course today. Camilla.
Thank you very much, Tara. Thank you. Elections Canada says voters will be using a write-in ballot in the upcoming by-election in Alberta. More than 200 people have signed up to run against Pierre Poilievre in the Battle River Crowfoot area. Rather than voters having to sift through all those names to find their candidate, Elections Canada announced today it will use an adapted ballot. That means voters will have to write the name of their preferred candidate on the ballot. A list of candidates will be available at every voting table so electors can find the name of their candidate of choice. The by-election takes place on August 18th. Sitting at 17 degrees, mostly cloudy and under a thunderstorm watch. Danielle has more details coming up. All right, thunderstorm watch.
Yeah, here we go again, right? We've had a lot of rain. We've talked about this already throughout the show. We need some brightness in our days. We need to get some vitamin D out there, considering it's late July and we're used to getting vitamin D. 17 degrees is the cool daytime high so far, the current temperature today, but look at that. Into the 20s for tomorrow, a mix of sun and cloud, fog patches in the morning, and then as those dissipate, we're looking at sunshine for the afternoon. Just a very small chance of a late day shower, but mainly sunny, stable for Wednesday and Thursday, mid-20s for Wednesday, high 20s for Thursday. Oh my goodness, we're going to enjoy the outdoors, right, Cam?
Absolutely. Imagine that morning, 23 degrees, sunshine, and a coffee in your hand. A Calgarian has once again been crowned Canada's best barista. Ben Putko owns Monogram Coffee and competed in the Canadian Championships this weekend in Edmonton. The field started with 18 competitors and narrowed down to 6 finalists. Each barista had to impress a panel of judges with ingredients, taste, and technique. This is the 7th time Put has won the national championship. He will proudly represent the Maple Leaf at the World Barista Championships this fall. All right, thank you so much for joining us. Now here's the early edition of the CTV National News.